Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we are going to be playing Terravore Green, which comes to us from Aleph. So Terravore is not a card that really sees Legacy play, but we're going to try to make it work today. So it's a trample and a star power and toughness, where that star is equal to the number of land cards in all graveyards. So the goal here is between things like fetch lands, wastelands, elvish reclaimers, and Knight of the Reliquaries that we go and put enough lands into the graveyard to make this into a very respectable sized threat. And there are lots of decks in Legacy right now that are really throwing cards into their graveyards very quickly, and sometimes this might end up being a large creature, and other times it might end up being like a 3-mana 2/2, and like that is what it is. The rest of the shell is going to look somewhat similar. It's kind of somewhere between the mono green deck I played, I don't know, maybe about 2 weeks ago, and something like Maverick. So we have mana accelerants like Ignoble Hierarch and Noble Hierarch, which also will make combat easier with Exalted. And we're going to use that to get to various mana sinks, such as Hex Drinker, Green Sun Zenith, and a couple of cool curve toppers ranging from Questing Beast to Titania. So this is kind of a lands matter ramp deck. As far as the sideboard goes, I've kind of targeted a handful of things. I've opted for Path to Exile over Swords to Plowshares in this deck, because ultimately I am looking to just kind of like whomp my opponent with a couple of big hits from things like Shifting Ceratops, Knight of the Reliquary, or Terravore. And I wanted a removal spell that I could use on a Merit Lodge without giving my opponent 20 life. That's just kind of one of the things that was in the back of my head. And to a lesser extent, removing like an 8/8 Murktide Regent or something like that without giving my opponent life sounded good to me as well. That's why I went with Path to Exile. This deck has a super light black splash for Grist, and it doesn't really actually have that many black sources. Like, there's a Bayou and a Swamp outside of the Mana Dorks. Wrong Mana Dork. Outside of the Mana Dorks. So I didn't feel like there was enough black in the deck to justify Sudden Edict, which otherwise I would have quite liked. Otherwise, we have a handful of things like Collector Oof and Seeds of Innocent for the artifact-based decks, a handful of things like Choke and Carpet of Flowers for the blue decks, and then a couple of generic combo hate cards like Bojuka Bog and Thorn of Amethyst. I don't really expect to be beating non-graveyard combo decks with this deck. Like, it'll happen some amount of the time, but we're really looking to play a fair game of Magic. And if we get paired against something like Black-Red Reanimator, like we have Caracas, we have Elvish Reclaimer for Bog, we have Knights for Bog, we have 4 Endurance, like we can maybe put up a fight there. But I'm a little worried about something like, say, Sneak and Show or Storm. Honestly, I think that's all I have to say. Let's just kind of jump into the games. If you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. And if you are a regular, please throw me a like before the video begins. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. All right, I will be keeping this opening hand. I just have a turn 2 Grist, which seems pretty powerful. If my Mana Dork gets removed, I don't quite like this hand as much. Because I need to fetch a green-black source with this, and I'll lose access to Prismatic Ending. So this is Bayou. There we go. And play out my Dork. Opponent mulliganed once. We'll see what sort of deck they're on. Okay. Please don't be a combo Polluted Delta. Please be a fair Polluted Delta. Okay. So the real question becomes, do I just wasteland my opponent off of that Underground Sea immediately? Or do I jam Grist? I don't like that we're in their second main phase, and they still have priority. Okay, cool. I think I'm just going to wasteland my opponent. I am usually pretty scared of Underground Sea. If it's a control deck, it's probably not the worst thing to go and take them off of that. And if they're a combo deck, it's one of my few ways that I can actually interact with them in a game 1 scenario. Oh, are we getting a free one off a 1-lander? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, Sylvan Library, let's fucking go. Dryad Arbor can go back in the deck. I don't want that card. I'll pay some life for an extra land, though. I'm good with that. I think I'll save the... No, let's just shuffle away the Dryad Arbor right now. Grab like a Savannah here. Gamma Grist. My opponent's a full-on combo deck. Like, a Grist is not enough to get a concession, but it's a good start. Okay, yeah, this is another turn of them not having a land. Yeah, this is screaming unfair. Do what we want to do with this Sylvan Library. Yeah, we'll just put these back. I don't need this stuff all that badly. So this dinosaur will be a very real clock here. And a plus on Grist, clear those extra lands off the top of the library, and then take some exalted damage here. These prismatic endings that are in my hand are probably dead cards. But I have 7 damage showing as of next turn. So hopefully I can aggro my opponent out in like 2 turns. Like, the Grist Plus guaranteed gets me to 8. But like, Dark Ritual Doomsday is a thing that can happen, right? Most likely candidates are that my opponent is either playing Doomsday or Storm, with Doomsday probably being more likely. Wasteland would be a cool draw. Would very much like that. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. No. Now it seems like my opponent is on Storm. Although Ad Nauseam was just shut off, at least for the time being. Okay, Ad Nauseam is back. Okay, Duress is fine. Okay, so that's a Hellbent Infernal Tutor. And I have taken damage from my own cards, so even though this is a storm count of 9, that kills me. Oh, that's super unfortunate. Alright, concede. Not expecting to win this matchup, just generally speaking. So I will play Thorn, I will play Oof, I will probably board in Bog, Oaks, and Endurance. I probably won't play Carpet of Flowers. Like, it does stuff, but this is not the slow matchup where I'm expecting that to just win games. I probably don't need Mother of Runes here. I probably board out Terravore. It's just a creature that turns sideways. It has no utility. I don't think that's super acceptable here. Probably just like board out a Swamp for a Bojuka Bog as a 1-for-1. Grist doesn't really do a ton here. How am I doing in terms of slots if I do that? Not bad. Prismatic Ending can help with artifact mana that's played out, but otherwise it's pretty weak. Let's sort this. Get rid of Hex Drinker without really costing myself anything. The Life from the Loam is slow, but Recurring Wasteland is pretty respectable. I cut 1 Prismatic Ending on the draw here, I think. Or, well, I'm on the play. I'm going to cut 1 Prismatic Ending regardless. This is fine. Like, I have a Thorn. That is very much the sort of card that I am hoping for. But 1 Duress effect makes this hand pretty bad. Okay, nice. Okay. Alright, I have made it to turn 2. This is nice. So, let's secure white mana for the future. And drop a Thorn. Again, a Thorn effect is not a game over. But it's good. My mana dork's a little awkward here, as is my Sylvan Library. Okay, sure. Okay, so I probably lose Endurance here. There's a world where I might lose the Sylvan Library. Yeah, I lost the Sylvan Library instead. That's fine. Dryad Arbor. I think I'm actually going to play that and Noble Hierarch this turn. That means that when I play Yavimaya, I have 5 total mana. So I can play Shifting Ceratops and give it haste next turn. And this still gives me Pitch Cast Endurance if I need to do that. I don't know what my opponent has boarded in to deal with this. But presumably there's something of some kind. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to go ahead and Wasteland my opponent off of the red mana for the Past in Flames type cards. Like, they still have a Lotus Petal, but forcing them to use it for that is good. This can leave up 3 mana for Endurance. And I can give a little love tap here. Like, every point of damage matters versus an Ad Nauseam deck. Start to get scared if my opponent answers my Thorn end of turn. Okay, it is a Boseiju. So I will get a basic, or I guess I can just get a dual land, right? And if my opponent starts casting any spells, I've got Endurance, got Threshold to think about. We're not quite there yet. This would be 4/5. I have a lot of damage coming. I'm not really at a relevant place yet. That occurs. Uh-huh. Alright, so my opponent is cracking Infernal Tutor. Presumably going to be an ad nauseum. Yep. So let's see how wild this all gets. It's looking good for me so far. Infernal Tutor starts to get a little scary. Fails fine. Okay. Multiple Infernal Tutors at this point. LED. Spooky. So when the Cabal Ritual hits the stack, I will Endurance. That's my plan. Don't know that that actually matters, fortunately. Okay, 2 mana, Cabal Ritual. I will go ahead and Endurance here. And nuke your graveyard. Oh, this is still 5 total mana. And LED kind of puts that over the edge, right? This is just Infernal Tutor, crack LED. That's 5, 6 total mana, which means I am just dead to Tendrils. Yeah, this is the sort of deck that we were hoping to dodge, because we just don't have the game 1 interaction to reasonably beat it. GG's. Alright, round 2, I will go ahead and keep this hand. We can start on Savannah Dryad Arbor, and then accelerate into some of these various cards that are in my hand. Alright, little buddy, let's do it. Alright. We do have the Terravore Endurance Nanbo, which is something the donor was aware of, but just, like, remember, you can say no to an Endurance. You don't have to nuke your opponent's graveyard. Okay. Potentially playing against a blue-white X control deck of some kind. Shrubland? Shrubland's relatively uncommon. I'm in for this. We might be playing against, like, some Dead Guy Ale. Let's just get my mana acceleration going. Like, I really needed that Dryad Arbor to kind of hop me to 3 mana. Like, that's where I get these things. I think it's like Esper Vial. Oh, okay. Resolves. All right, Terravore. You're gonna get your day in the sun. Like, I'm absolutely playing you here. Or actually, I ripped the land so I can play Questing Beast. JK. I'll play Questing Beast and then be like super sad if my opponent just has Caracas. Okay, well, Force of Will is at least a 2-for-1 in my favor, which kind of helps make up for that. Pitching a Brainstorm. All right, opponent. I'm gonna need you to fetch. Need to make this absolutely thick. Yes, yes. We're just like straight up playing against fucking 5-color control here. Hey, hey now. Green symbols here are rough. Also, like, opponent is just coming in hot with this bullshit main deck Terravore hate. Like, unacceptable. Absolutely rude. Being metagamed against, you know. Okay. Oh, wow, that is tough. So I can just Boseiju this thing out of play and never have to deal with the back end. Or I can try to ambush it in combat with an Endurance. Man, I really need the second green symbol, but I am just too afraid of my opponent using a removal spell on my Endurance and then just, like, this card spiraling the game out of control. Alright. Let's nuke that thing. Definitely afraid of, like, a Day's Undoing just happening. Okay. I have enough mana sources in the deck where I'm not overly worried about just eating too much damage before I find something to let me play these cards. I mean, that'll do. That'll do. So let's get that back. I'll just play that as a land. And I can use that to work on growing the Terravore. Oh, is it just more fish people? More fish people's a little spooky. So I take 6 here. This is a 3-turn clock as is. Oh, there's more? Alright, my, like, deck with a lot of ancillary graveyard synergies absolutely doesn't like this. I do not know that I have time to dredge this Life from the Loam, because, like, I'm going to lose the progress from it to this, so I think I just let that go. And just go ahead and pass the turn here. Alright, sure. And Terravore, like, you would be so dummy thick right now, if not for this card. Alright. Here we go, Ambush Viper. Let's do it. Right. Did not get, like, Force of Willed or anything, so that's nice. Oh, looks like I am actually going to get to block successfully, which is also quite good. Alright, Baleful Strix in there as well. It looks like our opponent is on non-green control. Alright. Knight of the Reliquary is just bigger than Terravore right now. Probably go ahead and just play that out. I have green, I have white. I don't have black in case that matters. Grab a Bayou. Play a Knight. And I can do an okay job at holding the ground, but this Baleful Strix attacking in the air is somewhat problematic. I don't have a maze, do I? No, I do not. I imagine this just comes in and pokes me. Well, it would. I could trade endurance for it. But I'm going to take the hit for at least this turn. I just, I don't want to lose out on this X4 body currently while this is still in the range of removal spells like Lightning Bolt. Alright, we're going wide. Oh wow, this is getting a Force of Will. Absolutely. And now, Terravore's time to shine. Or at the very least, make it onto the battlefield. I'm not going to activate Knight of the Reliquary yet. I want to have that card held back in combat. I think at this point I'm comfortable taking this trade. Just to not take any damage here. I don't know what this is, but it's a lot of mana. Oh, it's a Murktide Regent. It's only a 4/4 Murktide Regent, but I am not prepared to deal with this at this time. I guess sacrifices basic planes. Grab a Wasteland. X-Drinker. And if I wasn't at 6 life, I could probably turn this game around pretty quickly. Alright, so let's do that. I'll just immediately level it up 3 times. Protection from everything, or sorry, the protection from instants is cool. My opponent can really only swing with the Murktide Regent. I guess this pretty significantly grows my team. Now, do I go deeper? Maybe go deeper. So I am looking to find basically just Grist. Okay. I already have the mana for Grist. And I'll just kind of keep attacking my opponent's mana. And I'm going to attempt to threaten lethal on the backswing. Like, Terravore is an 8/8 right now. It can happen. But my opponent could just grow Murktide Regent by 2. That would be pretty unfortunate for me. Found Prismatic Ending. Which gets rid of Hexdrinker, which means that I am actually dead this turn, unfortunately. 4 in the air, plus 3 unblocked from another source. Rough. Terravore, despite the graveyards being exiled twice, was still an 8/8. What am I doing with my life here? I like these endurances. Probably play Endurance and Choke. Carpet of Flowers is somewhat tempting, but Hidetsugu kind of makes that, like, eh. I'll probably go down some number of 1-drops that just sit in play. I might go up some more removal spells, just because Murktide Regent is an asshole. I don't think I want to funnel so much mana into Hexdrinker when a Hidetsugu is just going to remove it. I think Life from the Loam becomes less good. I was planning on boarding out all of my Terravores, but That was an 8/8 after multiple graveyard nukes, so maybe I keep one around as a green sun target. Damaging Ooze also becomes significantly worse if my opponent is just nuking all the graveyards. Um, let's try something like this. Yeah, I will keep a hand that just lets me lead on Noble Hierarch into Sylvan Library Wasteland. That sounds good. Let's grab a Savannah. It doesn't matter too much what I grab because I have another fetch land. Like, it's possible Bayou's better because, like, this doesn't produce black, but I have the path in hand, so eh. Ooh, losing that Sylvan Library is a huge blow here. Yeah. Alright. I believe in the top of the deck. I will count Wasteland as a win there. I am totally happy with that card as a draw. My opponent is on just so many non-basics. I am good with this. I will need gas in the future. Unquestionably, I will need gas in the future, but a fine start. Don't love this. I don't really want to show the Wasteland yet. I think I'm just going to attack for 1 and call it good. Little bit of an anemic turn here, but I don't want to show the Wasteland and let my opponent know that I am about to attempt to knock them off a color. Like that. So I think I'm just going to kind of continue my 1 damage beatdown plan here. And then go for another Wasteland in my opponent's upkeep. Alright, well, I'm 100% taking out this land. Also, all I'm saying is that there's 5 lands in graveyards, about to be 6 lands in graveyards. Terravore's big. Alright. So, my opponent just had a chance to kind of like brainstorm for some more lands. We'll kind of see where they end up in terms of hitting land drops. Like, in addition to just hitting land drops, there are also, like, colors that matter. I might just path my own creature here and work on getting towards 5 mana. I think I am going to do that. Yeah. Pick up, like, another forest here. Just makes my mana dork more permanent. Okay, Spellbomb, sure. Makes my Titania significantly worse. And I think I'm going to avoid playing the Dryad Arbor. It's just Murktide Regent, which is super punishing for me choosing to ramp myself out. I don't think it matters if my opponent plays a Murktide if they don't also play this Spellbomb. The combination of those two things here is annoying. Alright, Titania time. I don't even have to fetch here. Here's to hoping Titania makes it around the table, though, because if she does, I get to just double fetch and put an additional 10 power into play. Okay, yeah. So opponent doesn't get to draw a card off their Spellbomb, but they do deny me my sick Titania value. Okay, yeah, that's fine. It finding Swords to Plowshares would very much not be fine, though. Okay, sure. No! Alright, we're probably dead to that Murktide Regent. Ugh. Alright. Not having, like, a Maze of Ithor equivalent to fetch up here is a little rough. I don't know that the card would be good in the deck in the first place, like, just, like, to clarify. When facing down Murktide Regent, I absolutely wish that I had it, but in a lot of other situations, I don't know that that's really true. Yeah, this is such a good tempo play from my opponent. 8/6 damage here. I am setting myself up for just an absolutely savage blowout at the hands of Hidetsugu Consumes All. Which is super unfortunate. But if I don't play stuff out, I just have, like, no chance at producing enough things that actually beat my opponent here. Okay, Prismatic Ending. Not great for me. Or Spell Bombs. Opponent, like, definitely has ways to exile their own graveyard and just grow Murktide Regent in scary ways. Alright, so no blocks. The dragon crashes in. I take 6. Prismatic Ending does not answer Murktide Regent, unfortunately, so I am going to have to concede here. Please ban this card, Wizards. It's getting real boring playing against this. I don't think I like this opening hand, so I have 5 lands, one of them is Dryad Arbor. I think I'm just going to ship this one and try to find something with a little more gas. This qualifies. Hand's real bad if my Noble Hierarch dies. I think I'm going to junk Prismatic Ending and just kind of keep the highest density of cards that I can turn sideways. This will be Savannah. But, like, absolutely a little nervous here. Okay. Yes, that's fine. My hand is redundant enough where I don't really care about that as of right now. I care about this if this is like, oh man, what a nice land. I really like that one. I care about this if this is the lead up into like Doomsday or Storm or something like that. Otherwise, I'm largely good with what's happening here. Got some synergy, anti-synergy here, kind of depending on how exactly things go. But, like, I made it around the table with my Noble Hierarch surviving so that I could play a knight. So I've got that going for me. Alright, is this... Oh, it's Innocent Blood. I think I just sacrificed the Hierarch, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, sounds good. No! Just off my Wasteland. I very much don't like that. We are potentially playing against some sort of a... Oh! Oh, it shut off neither Reliquary instead. Wow. Unexpected. So I will blow up that Urza Saga. I'll crash in for 4 while my graveyard's still pretty full. And then I'll Life from the Loam, and I will just take both of these lands back, even though it decreases my clock a little bit. I just think I'm pretty sure that I want Wasteland for the future. And I want to keep hitting my land drops. Alright, good stuff. I guess my big unknown currently is whether or not I'm drudging that Life from the Loam on my turn. Rather draw gas. But Life from the Loam could increase my clock for the immediate future. I'm going to try to draw gas here. I suspect that I'm about to eat a Sudden Edict or equivalent. We'll see if I'm right. Yeah, okay. An Abrupt Decay instead. That's fine. So let's go ahead and fetch. Grab. My Bayou's in hand. I'll grab a Savannah and just play out another one of these. So I'm not likely to want to Life from the Loam for the next couple turns, unless my Wasteland becomes usable. Maybe. Something to keep in mind with Wasteland and either Reliquary is that you can just blow up your own lands to increase the size of your knight by 2. Not something that you want to do frequently, but when you do it, it's usually game-winning. Ooh, my opponent is a Life from the Loam deck as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna immediately Wasteland that, just to increase the size of my own knight. Yeah, alright. Goodbye, Urza Saga. Hello, 4 damage. So my knight is now going to be a 2-turn clock, counting a Verdant Attic Tomb. Alright. That's interesting. Feels like Liliana of the Veil. Yeah. Lose this here. I can play out Verdant Catacombs as a Dryad Arbor. Which is not like a super good play or anything, but it might be where I'm at. I expect my opponent pluses this Liliana. A little unsure exactly where they go from there. I don't know how fair this Entomb is. Okay, yeah, there we go. Opponent junks a Dark Ritual. Yep, Loam is fine. It's obviously good. It may force me to dredge my own life from the Loam so that I can continue wastelanding their Urza Sagas. Yeah. Alright, here comes Dryad Arbor. To save the day. We'll dredge Loam. Oh, don't Sudden Edict me. Fuck. Sudden Edict, okay. So I will junk my Dryad Arbor here. And I just get to attack Lily for 1 instead now of the 2 that I was hoping to take it off board. So I'll Loam back, Dryad Arbor, Wasteland, and like a Bayou or something. The last one doesn't really matter because I'm just going to discard it. And then we're playing this awful game of we both have life from the Loam. And we're both discarding cards to Lily. Yeah, I hate this. I guess they didn't dredge their life from the Loam. Junk my Bayou. For the record, Terravore. would be huge. That holds the ground. Am I just continuing this Wasteland plan? Like, now I Wasteland this? I don't think so. I think I need to draw towards something a little stronger. Like, the Mishra's Factory is annoying here. But once I have, like, a 2020 creature, I don't really care about that. Opponent did not dredge there. I think if my opponent edicts, I actually sacrifice the Mother of the Runes. Like, despite how good she is. What was that? Siphon Life? Oh, that's the Retrace Drain spell. Alright, I haven't seen that in a long time. I could Wasteland this card. Again, I think I just want to draw live. Ooh, I like that, though. That makes future Life from the Loams more attractive. Let's just draw that. I won't reg. Okay. Seems like a good endurance. Do this for 3. First is also pretty good. But I think just taking out my opponent's graveyard here is really strong. And then I'll just chill, and I have the I have a creature larger than Mishra's Factory at this point. Okay, we've gotten the concession. Ooh, that was a slog. Took some risks there, but I think staying in that holding pattern probably favored my opponent. So I know that my opponent has Urza Sagas and some graveyard like relevant things. So I'll probably play Endurance for their graveyard synergies. Path is medium. I might still play it. Seeds of Innocence is good against Urza Saga. I don't know that I need it as a whole. I think if I go up to the full playset of Endurance, I go ahead and cut Terravore. Like, I think in game 1 there, that Terravore was pretty sick since we were both loaming, but if I am going to more actively attack my opponent's graveyard, I don't think it's going to be quite as good again. And then I kind of expect some number of, like, Plague Engineer type cards to come in. So maybe I should go down on my human count preemptively. I think those 4 need to come in. I also think that game goes way differently if my opponent just Pithing Needles Wasteland, like I thought they should have the first time. Actually, for Pithing Needles, like, maybe this also just, like, does come in. My opponent's playing a bunch of, like, Edicts that makes Mom worse. I'm gonna go those out and then try to find room for this somehow. I also could play the Bog over some other land. Probably do that. And just go up a land to play the Bog. Maybe I don't play these paths. And then I cut 1 land. Cut 1 Mana Dork, maybe? Maybe cut 1 Mana Dork. Maybe I'm going too deep with Seeds of Innocence here, but plainly dealing with Urza Saga and the Pithing Needle or whatever that it finds seems okay. Okay, I don't like that I have a Pain land in my opener, but this allows me to fetch a Dryad Arbor and then, like, try to play out multiple cards. I think I'm on board with this. Also a hand that's kind of redundant. Yeah, that's fine. A hand that's kind of redundant so that just, like, a single discard punching a hole in it doesn't just completely cripple me. So I like that too. Fetchable with Urza Saga, by the way. So, like, this is a card that Pox used to play in the past. Kind of got power crept out, but, like, if you are playing it as an Urza Saga bullet, I think it becomes a lot more reasonable. Okay. So, in case you haven't played against a Smallpox before, this card resolves in order, alright? So we lose the life first, then we discard a card, then we sacrifice a creature, meaning that I can't choose Dryad Arbor for my land, so I do lose both of those things. That was tough. I am going to need to top deck a green land in order to cast any spells. I can pitch cast an Endurance if my opponent goes for something like a Life from the Loam, but they will still end up on the right side of that trade. Yeah. Alright. This one's pretty much over. Unless my opponent misses this land drop. But if they can make Urza Saga Construct token... Oh, they can't. Okay, nice. Less good for me, but, like, the Urza Saga didn't just outright kill me itself. So let's see what this gets. It might just, like, get, like, a Pithing Needle for Wasteland. Oh, it's a Spell Bomb. Sure, that's fine. Like, that's a way for them to draw a card and try to hit another land drop. Okay, sure. Just cashing in immediately. Alright, goodbye, graveyard. Alright, opponent found a win condition. Not a fast one, but it, like, definitely counts. Alright, never mind. It is not a win condition. Goodbye. We're gonna stare at each other for a while? We're gonna stare at each other for a while. Okay. I'm not discarding yet. That's the good news. Alright, we are both on the 7 cards in hand, no castable spells plan. And I think I'm just going to start with my most expensive card. Because if I draw future green cards, I can just go and play multiple things in a turn. This can also be color fixing, allowing me to play multiple spells in a turn. Alright. Alright, sure. Current plan involves wastelanding this. A is fine. I am just absolutely going to deny my opponent's mana when given the opportunity to. And I think I just use Green Sun here, since I can only spell once anyway. And just, like, use that to get a mana dork. I'll get a Noble. I don't think it particularly matters too much which one I get there. Ignoble gives me access to green, or sorry, to black, but I have my next few turns lined up in terms of spells. I'm not worried about casting a Grist, and I probably would not do so on this board. Alright, something's happening. Plague Engineer is fine. It was something that I was expecting. Like, it's good. Like, taking out one of my mana sources here is just quite useful on board. Alright. This can get me a Bayou. And then I think I'm gonna just opt to double spell this turn. I think Sylvan Library is just really strong right now. And then I can go ahead and play out my Elvish Reclaimer, which is currently a 3/4. Currently. Do not expect that to continue to be the case. Not sure if the Plague Engineer is going to swing in or not. Like, I'm not blocking if it does, because it just sets myself up for a combat trick. I'm also at the lower life total, but I am going to pressure my opponent's life total faster than they are going to pressure mine. For sure. Oh, wow. Innocent Blood. Absolutely. Okay. Thematic Ending is a card. Ooh, I like Questing Beast. I go ahead and put Prismatic Ending back on top and pay 4 life. Keep these other cards. And I will just send the pressure here with this haste creature. Like, I have Endurance backing up my opponent's graveyard. Yeah, I kind of expected that to be about the concession point. Hey folks, I hope you're enjoying the show. If you are, please consider doing something to support me. You can do plenty of things for free without using any money, like liking and commenting on the video or subscribing to the channel. Those sorts of things support me, and if you're in a position that you can support me financially, you can do so by doing a donation deck list, becoming a YouTube member, or following me on Patreon. All right, that's the plug. Back to the magic. All right, I like my opening hand for this round. We've got a good mix of lands and spells. I've got some stuff that I can sink my mana into. I like long-term prospects in this game. All right, we're playing against Delver. How many basics do I have? I do have a second forest, so I have forest, plains, swamp. I think I'm just going to lead on forest here. But it's possible I should just fetch a forest and start working on growing Terravore as quickly as possible. Alright, so I know about days now. I don't know that I like this art. Well, okay, not the art. I don't know that I like this, like, frame, coloration, whatever you want to call it. It's just, like, it's very hard to read power and toughness of this card on Magic Online. I guess let's get basic plains here and throw a mana into a Hex Drinker. I don't really have anything else to do with my turn, unfortunately. Alright. This is going to be a lot of power in the air that I'm not equipped to currently deal with. I'd like to draw an Endurance. Okay, that's an Endurance. What I asked for. I know about days. I think I ignore my black mana here, so I can't get Wastelanded in this turn cycle. So I am going to play Terravore as my bait spell for that days. Okay. Mission succeeded. And then I will attack with the Hex Drinker. And anything to trade for these onboard creatures right now just sounds great. And then I will try to play an Endurance in my next turn. Oh my god, they didn't want the Force of Will. That's interesting. Okay. Because, like, Force of Will stopping the next thing that I play almost certainly kills me. They already just have a Force of Will, like, sucks to suck. I think I am just doing this main phase, unfortunately. I want to play 2 spells, but I want to hold up Endurance. Or, sorry. I want to play Endurance around days, is what I meant to say. So let's crash in here. Alright. Man, my opponent didn't want that Force of Will? Okay, yep. That is what it is. Taking sticks. Not great. So I can play Shifting Ceratops and give it reach with a mana. Do a quick check of my creatures. I can also Green Sun for an Endurance, which allows me to funnel some mana into Hex Drinker. The difference between these lines is whether or not a counterspell matters. A counterspell doesn't matter if I play Shifting Ceratops. I guess is just the reason to do that. Alright. Alright, there's my dinosaur. I'll bash in for a healthy 3 damage. And I'll let my opponent swing on in. Stifle kills me. Alright, here they come. Activate my ability. Get reach. Take out a Delver. Go to 1. Okay. More Delver. Quick check. Can I kill my opponent? This is 5. 4 would be 9. This would be 10. What if I Questing Beast? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't quite work either. This is going to be tight. Leave up a basic in case things get weird. Alright, so let's do this for X equals 3. Grist better? No, probably not. I'll just grab the Endurance. Just keeps my opponent's graveyard low as well. I'll swing in with these 2, leaving back a mana to give this reach. Alright, good stuff. Okay, Delver flips to Stifle, so I need to give this reach right the fuck now. Alright, cool. Oh wow, my opponent is conceding here. Fantastic. That was a nail biter. Oh, Green Sun would have been real good there as a follow-up. Okay, so we are playing against a blue-white Delver deck, it looks like. I'm gonna guess there's, like, Delvers, Murktides, maybe, like, Stoneforge Mystic for Kaldra in there. That sort of stuff. Pile of Endurances sounds great. Oak and Carpet sound great, as does Path. I don't think I'm going to play Bojuka Bog until I see more of my opponent's deck. The only threat that I saw that game was Delver, so I don't know for sure what all's in there. Alright, let's assume I don't have the life total for Sylvan Library. Let's assume that every time Endurance comes in, Terravore goes out. Let's assume that Carpet is better than a normal mana dork. And I'll go down 1 Ignoble Hierarch and 1 Noble Hierarch. That is just a clear substitution, so I'll just do that. Terravore's got me. Endurances. Then it's harder from here. At this point, I feel like a lot of my cards are just reasonable. Possible one of my Curve Toppers should come out. Let's pull Questing Beast. It gets me 2 Path to Exiles. And it's possible I don't want Choke on the draw, but I do want it on the play. I'll maybe buy that. Yeah, this is a reasonable to good-looking opening hand. I'm very good against early threats like Delver. What do you got for me, opponent? You starting on a Cantrip or a Delver? Cantrip. Fantastic. That's what I want to see. And I just like to draw a handful of lands at this point. Like, playing my cards around days is good. I don't think I get to play the turn 1 Noble Hierarch around days. I think I need to just try to take advantage of the fact that my opponent didn't lead on a creature and just play this out. Okay, yeah. Stoneforge confirmed. Or Kaldra. Alright, I think I'm going to attempt to Prismatic Ending that. It's a little awkward if my opponent has, like, multiple cards that interact with me this turn. But I value the Path to Exiles more highly than I do the Prismatic Endings, I think. Okay, there is red in this deck. Okay, they're just running it back. Or Jitte. Do I Path? I kind of want to Path and then play Knight of the Reliquary around days. I think I'm good with that. I think I just get Savannah. Not 100% sure, though. Alright. Life from Loam's interesting. I don't think it's crazy good or anything, but it's interesting. Alright. Let's get my little points of damage in while I can. I still have a removal spell, and I still have something that interacts favorably versus things like Delver and Murktide. Okay, Prismatic Ending is fine. Other Knight, do I just play it immediately? Or do I just take an opportunity to just nuke their graveyard for a few cards and prevent a possible Murktide from slipping in? I think I'll just prevent the Murktide from coming into play. Alright. Nuke that. Crash in for 1. Just a absolutely slow grind here. I don't like that when my opponent gets around to playing. Don't like that when my opponent gets around to playing threats that the Jitte is just going to be so strong. Alright. Jitte's good. That Jitte is really good. Yeah, okay. Life's bad. I am very much not set up to answer a True Name Nemesis. Opponent's deck is, like, absolutely hitting me from an angle that I'm not ready for here. I think this one's over. I'm gonna try and do some wiggling here and kind of force my opponent to blow all their Jitte counters on this Scavenging Ooze in hopes of just kind of keeping that card in check, but I'm not really gaining much per turn cycle, whereas my opponent is basically getting a Planeswalker activation worth of value out of Jitte. Now that I know my opponent has things like True Name Nemesis and a bunch of equipment, I definitely want these jokes, and some things like Collector Roof or Seeds of Innocence become a little more attractive. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to cast this Life from the Loam. I will. Not entirely convinced that it's correct to. Alright. Protection from everything is a hell of a drug. My opponent can now gain more life per turn cycle than I can do in damage. Just long term, also looming is like the fact that like Kaldra is a thing that exists. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, no dredge. Mom's not great on this board. I'll just make my land drop and send in for 3. I'm nearly dead though. Like my opponent can just pump True Name Nemesis and hit me for 7 this turn, and then kill me next turn. That's if they so choose. They don't even have to choose to do that at this point. I'm gonna assume that Kaldra goes back in the deck here and gets shuffled away. Okay, is this a Murktide Regent? Okay, so Murktide is in. Oh no, it's Prismatic Ending. Sure. All right, so am I taking 3 or 7 this turn? Just 3. I guess I can draw a Prismatic Ending and answer the Jitte, and that helps out a lot. Carpet of Flower is not what I am looking for on that board. Okay. The opponent's deck is a little more controlling than I thought, so like Joke, Sylvan Library, technically Oof and Seeds are things that I can consider. I don't know that the Oof is super strong because my opponent's just going to go for Kaldra most of the time anyway, but I think I like this stuff. Go down an Elvish Reclaimer, a Life from the Loam, And a Mother of Runes to get those cards in there. I don't think I throw this hand back, but I don't really love it either. Alright. So the turn 1 carpet's not like quite as good as it looks because it can just be Prismatic Ending away for a single mana, or your opponent can just like play a fetch land and not give you that initial mana boost. Yeah, so that's exactly what we're seeing here. So no to this ability. And I think I'm just gonna chill. Like, I want these green suns to be full-on threats. Ceratops is a hell of a drug. Yep, I think I'm just gonna wait. Like, I've got Wasteland to play around, I've got Stifle to play around. I'm okay waiting. Okay, I think I am gonna play around Stifle here, though. And just go ahead and fetch out, basic lands so I can't be Wastelanded. Get, Plains. Leg, hello? Photo? Oh, crash for the second time today? Like the last update was real good to Magic Online. I'll be back. Okay. I will grab basic planes there. And then my opponent's fetch can go through. And we'll kind of see what their turn cycle looks like. I really like the idea of hasty shifting Ceratops coming in on my opponent's turn. Okay, nice. Let's say yes to this. Grab green mana. If I want this to be hasty, I do need to fetch. I will go ahead and fetch. I still have good lines if the fetch doesn't go through. So this is uncounterable. And now we'll give it haste. And we'll send in with my Ball Lightning. Or I guess my Reality Smasher is more accurate. And we'll see what my opponent can do about that. Questing Beast is currently in my sideboard, right? Yes, I boarded it out. That's fine. Ooh. So let's say no to that. Am I good with just wastelanding my opponent to take them off a colorless source? I don't really need to make that choice until post-combat. So let's just send in with this, see if it works. Okay. Seems like I am going to eat a Swords to Plowshares type effect. Yeah, that's fine. We'll use this ability. We'll get green mana. Let's attempt Choke first. Just see if that works. It's a pretty big blow to my opponent's mana if it does. Does not. I will now attempt a green sun for X equals 3. We're just going to get an Endurance. Put those cards back in my opponent's deck. And then, like, next turn, I can be looking at doing something like a Hex Drinker and just leveling it up all the way. Oh, wow. Go no to that. All right. Bash in for 3. Opponent goes to 8. Get 3 mana out of this carpet. Yes. Pick green. Do a green sun for X equals 1. Pick up the Hex Drinker. And attempt just sending this thing to the moon. All right, here's the 3rd level. Nice. So that's protection from instants, which is very good. And we'll go ahead and just send that to 5. Now, it is instants, okay? So, like, a Prismatic Ending can still answer that for a single mana. Okay. That's good. But I still very much feel in control of this game. Bash in for my 3. Put opponent to 5. Would like to do this for 3. I may be just supposed to grab a Scavenging Ooze so that I'm not playing into Daze. Alright, we got Force of Will and Stifle. So I have 2 ways to get creatures out of the way, neither of which causes my opponent to lose life. So the big thing that I'm hoping to avoid is just True Name Nemesis. Failed in that regard. But I'm not just like stone dead to equipment. And I can just get a second creature into play and then try to attack for lethal in one go. Like, it's somewhat likely that my opponent ends up fetching and puts themselves to 3, and then something like double endurance can just kill them. Okay, sure. Alright. Much with my desire to kind of keep my opponent's graveyard dead. This is the sort of thing that I want. Do I cast this? I think I'll cast it at my opponent's end step. Like, give them a chance to fetch. Stop it. I don't like it. Ooh, okay. So I'll take 3 for that. But then I just play a second Endurance in their end step. That's good for me. Because Endurance doesn't, like, True Name does not, ooh. No, this targets. It's still fine, though. Like, I turn these sideways. I don't lose one in combat. My opponent goes to 1, and then I will have 3 creatures on board. I think my opponent messed up. Like, I get wanting to end the game, but that play wasn't super safe. Alright. Do the grist thing. I took an ignoble hierarch off the top of my library. Okay, yeah, there's the concession. I don't know that my opponent can win this in a prolonged game, because, like, I go wide of them eventually anyway. But I don't like that attack. But, like, maybe that's flavored by me having the endurance in hand and, like, very much knowing to play around that. So we're 2-2. Alright, I will be keeping this opening hand, but, like, it's not without problems. Like, I'm missing a color. This is a card that I never, ever, ever want to draw. Okay, so we're probably playing against 60-card Death and Taxes. Alright. Looking very wastelandable over here. I don't love having to, like, play out Boseiju versus a deck, like, where that is, like, very clearly a reasonable spell either. Just kind of looking at my hand here, I expect my opponent to win this game. Unforge? Omic. Okay. Sure. I should just hover over this for a second since it's not commonly played in Legacy. Alright, go Caracas, Reclaimer, and call it a turn. Like, very much might become a Caracas-based game. Because, like, my Caracas is preventing my opponent's Tomic from getting in here, and my opponent's Caracas could prevent my Questing Beast from becoming relevant. Fine. Also fine. A little unexpected for 60-card D&T to be playing that. So, sending in. Feels like I'm just sending in. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, so, like, it gets past this otherwise impenetrable wall. Alright, get in there, little buddy. The 4-turn clock, like, it's respectable, but, like, cards like Solitude and Swords to Plowshares and Caracas exist, so I'm not really expecting it to go all the way. Okay, just passing the turn here. Alright, let's send in. Like, there's worlds where a flash creature like Cathar Commando happens, but don't really have much in terms of options here. Oh, it's just happening. Wow. Okay. Guess I'll just make a land drop then and call it a turn. Prismatic Ending doesn't really do anything. Oh, wow. Okay, nothing. Nothing. Ah. Or maybe more accurately, nothing usable. Like, they could have removal spells that are being blanked by this Caracas or something. Arbiter. Unusual build. They will fetch in response. I guess they could have had an Aven Mind Sensor or something that they were holding up. Grab Bayou. Okay. Yeah, we're just chilling here. I'm just looking to draw big haymakers. And we're sending. Like, my reality smasher sized questing beast might just get there. Just purely off the virtue of my opponent not being able to deal with it. I don't think I show the Wasteland yet. Like, play out the Dryad Arbor here or something. Okay, yeah. I don't believe I play out that Noble Hierarch pre-combat. I don't think that matters. Let's go ahead and send this in. Famous last fucking words, huh? I'll just go ahead and bounce that. No, I guess they still would have done it with the second Exalted trigger on the stack. Okay. I don't even think I play this out this turn. I think I just play this out next turn when I have Caracas available. I don't want to play this out and then just, like, have it attacked. I don't think I want to share the Wasteland. Let's just go Yavimaya, play another one of these, and then just play the Questing Beast next turn when it's protected. This is a weird fucking game. Giver is totally fine. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have an Endurance to punish that attack or anything. The opponent having Leonin Arbiter probably means they don't have Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, let's go Questing Beast. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana plus Caracas, so I am not going to play out Ignoble Hierarch here. Always yield to those. Other Source of Plowshares. I'll just go ahead and bounce that. This has ended up being just very obnoxious. And then post-combat, I'm fine with playing this out. The most patiently I've ever played with a Questing Beast in my life. I would love to kill this Leonin Arbiter. I don't think it's going to easily happen, because, you know, there's some shields up. But I would love to do it. Back to get hit for 2 again. Yep, that's fine. I'm at 16. Oh, wow. That's fine. That's very good as well. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. There's Questing Beast. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's Shifting Ceratops. Actually, I guess giving that haste doesn't really matter here, right? It needs trample to be relevant. Otherwise, my opponent just has, like, any number of things that count as a wall. Alright. You have another thing to keep you alive for a turn. 2 cards entered the exile zone. March of Otherworldly Light for X equals 4. Sure. What entered the exile zone? Omic and Thalia. Alright, yeah. I'll bounce my Questing Beast then. And I believe next turn I'm just good. I'm not going to show this Wasteland until I need to. I think it's just very valuable in case my opponent thinks, like, a Wasteland is going to save them. What do you do? It's all fine. I'm going to go ahead and block that. And force my opponent to either tap a creature or pay 2 mana. Yeah, you can be indestructible. That's okay. Alright. So you transform into a Planeswalker. Now, what's the plan? As of right now, it seems to me like Questing Beast just kills my opponent 100% of the time when I play it. Okay, so they target Shifting Ceratops with that. That's fine. Yeah, so I believe I can just Prismatic Ending that for X equals 1. You're not a creature, so you can't be protected by my opponent's stuff. Goodbye to you. And then I'll play Questing Beast. Yeah. What a ridiculous game. Okay. So my opponent probably doesn't have a Stoneforge Mystic package since they're playing Leonin Arbiters. At the end of the day, I just want to have the creatures with the bigger butt, and I don't want to die in the initial turns of the game. So, like, Endurances as fatties are probably fine. Elector Oof legit as a 2/2 is maybe okay. Probably won't play it. So as these games go really, really long, assuming a Leonin Arbiter doesn't stop me from searching my library, I want to get a Hex Drinker and just level it to max level. And that's how I break these board stalls. I guess my own Mother of Runes are also pretty respectable here in that regard. I'm going to junk Library, Life from the Loam, and from there I don't really know. Elvish Reclaimer has 1 mana, 3/4s seem really good. Terravores probably get huge as these games go long. I get these paths. Questing Beast was an MVP that time, but I assume my opponent has many copies of Caracas in their deck, like probably 3. I don't know from here. Go 1 Terravore for 1 Endurance. I'll keep this as a Green Sun target. And then I do want this other Endurance. It just has a big butt. But I legitimately don't know what card I would cut other than maybe just trimming on 1 Green Sun to better play around Leonin Arbiter. And it's totally fine. I have to fetch on turn 1, though. Opponent's deck is closer to, like, White Weenie than it is, like, true Death on Taxes, now that I've seen more of it. Like, bears a little bit of a resemblance to, like, the... Oh. Whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Sure. Am I fetching a wastelandable land here? I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to grab basic planes and just take that creature out of play. I want to do it this turn before a Thalia comes down and increases the cost of that card. Yeah, sure. Alright, that's what I don't want to see. Like, that plus Ghost Quarter is tough. Alright. It is what it is. My opponent doesn't know that I don't have white removal. I think what I'm going to do is click on a card here, and then like look like I'm changing my mind to just plant the idea that I might have a removal spell. And that like going for the Ghost Quarter play might not be safe. Woohoo! There's a lot of mana denial. Alright, they're going for it anyway. Yeah. I don't have it. Do your thing. Grafdigger's Cage, sure, that's fine. No blocks on my end. Don't mind that at all. My whole Elvish Reclaimer ability is not looking super hot right now. We're not gonna rotate my lands out as like self-land destruction. But my Endurance next turn that is going to ambush this thing in combat is pretty sweet. I'm at 15. Am I up? Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually really annoying because that means I don't actually get to just easily play Endurance. Because like this is going to enter tapped. And it's going to get Wastelanded. Okay. Terravore is huge though. When/if I get around to actually doing that. So I can block and rotate away my Savannah here to kill that Leonin Arbiter. I'm losing that land anyway. Let's sacrifice Savannah, turn this into a 3/4. I don't actually search, but I kill this in combat. I'm so good with that, because that turns on these lands, which were not previously live. I hope my opponent doesn't have another one. Okay, nice. Okay, I've used basic plains already. My opponent has a Wasteland showing. This can get me basic swamp. But not immediately, unfortunately. Archon is annoying. Opponent's at 16. I am on the wrong side of this Wasteland tempo situation. Not like irreversibly or anything, but like this is not good for me. If more pressure continues to come, I am in actual trouble. Cage is messing with my green sun here. So it's play a land that can be messed with by Arbiter, or play a land that can be messed with via Source of Plowshares. Opponent doesn't have Arbiter as of right now. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I could just hold this back to rotate away against a removal spell. I think I'm going to do that, though. I think I need to put on my own pressure here. At 13. It's like, I can turn the game around extremely quickly once I get to the point that I can play threats. So, like, each point of life that I don't have to do later means that I can just end this game before my opponent top decks answers to some of my cards. Oh, Path is quite good. I fetched a 4. Oh shit, I don't have a basic left in the deck. Thought I had that basic plains, but that got destroyed early on. So I needed to actually hold this back and like rotate into swamp. Shit. I messed that up. So I could have played Endurance this turn if I did that, went to 2. Yeah, I messed that up. Fuck. Okay. Alright, I'll concede there. I don't know that I was going to get out of that easily anyway. Okay. Terravore looks a little better than it did last game, just purely based on the fact that it was like an 8/8 in my hand. Something like Titania looks a little worse because my opponent just has those Archons that I didn't know about before. So I think I'm going to make this swap. This is also legendary. I could also play Bojuka Bog over 1 Green Sun, because I know my opponent is playing both Cage and Arbiter effects. Just having 1 more land to get to 3 more consistently, especially after my opponent wastelands me, is not the end of the world. I don't hate it. I don't think I'm willing to go any deeper than just that, but I am okay with that. Alright. Hand's weird. I will just get a basic here. I just absolutely cannot have this 1 land get wastelanded. We'll play a Noble Hierarch specifically since it produces white. And I'm hoping to just like vomit these things on the board and just have the larger creature at the end of the day. Giver is fine. Giver does not need to immediately be killed since this is another. I can just use 1 mana to kill that later. So I think I am just going to play out Mana Dorks immediately and call it a turn. Okay, we played around that to the best of my ability. Arbiter is fine. So for sure, this is 1 mana, Prismatic Ending, get rid of Giver of Runes. You can be protected, that's fine. Then I will play out an Ignoble Hierarch and go for an in-combat Endurance since my attack doesn't actually do anything. Even these little mana dorks are a real threat. Honestly, even the Terravore just with Trample as like a 1/1 base is totally fine. See what you got. Maru is fine. Like, they're gonna Wasteland my Caracas. Grafdigger's Cage is fine. Like, they shut off 2 of my Green Suns. Yeah, and they're essentially saying, like, I need to get this show on the road before these things really just go and mess me up. So we're going to say just no to that. Keep all those lands in graveyard. Get my block on. And kill that thing in combat. Nice. Honestly, the trample seems really good to me here. I'll probably play out Terravore over Knight of the Reliquary. This is so much damage. Alright. One goes to 13. Actually, Knight just wastelanding my opponent is probably better than that. Sorry, Terravore. Like, I very much like the trample here. But having the option to destroy one of my opponent's 2 lands is probably just too good to pass up. Okay. Oh, that is a legendary permanent. So, like, all the legendary lands in the deck do grow that. That's super cute. Dahlia's fine. Opponent notably did not leave Caracas up. I just get my own I just get my own Caracas at this point. Yeah, I buy that. Do that. I already used Caracas. Oops. In which case, I'll just grab a Wasteland. Wasteland my opponent's Caracas so they can't do shenanigans. I think I play the Shifting Ceratops. Maybe I play the Terravore. It tramples, and the other one can be tramply and hasty next turn. Terravore! This Endurance crashes in for a very large number. Okay. And a Ganjo solves a problem for a turn. That's fine. But I have a Trampler now. And I don't think this dog is quite faithful enough to stop this much trample damage over a few turns. Wasteland, A-okay with me. Giver's fine. Trample's so good here. I can also just send in with both Knight and Terravore. But I think I like guaranteeing the damage off the trample here. 11-11, yeah. 11-11 Terravore, just casually. No big deal. Opponent goes to 2. I think I'll just main phase, play out a Shifting Ceratops, and just add to the go wide state that I have going. Opponent's deck idea is cool. We have gotten the GG. So we end up with a 3-2 in this league. Alright, I rebooted, so let me re-drag some things around here. Alright, Legacy, Terravore Green. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Medium. I don't have strong feelings for or against it at the end of the day. Like, some of the numbers feel a little weird to me. Like, the 2 random Mother of Runes, like, are maybe not adding to the deck in the most cohesive way. Like, maybe it is just better to have more copies of things that just can be killed than have, like, 2 Mother of Runes that you might not draw at the right time. Top decking them in, like, certain spots can be kind of awkward as opposed to, say, like, top decking a Knight or a Green Sun, which is just a real endgame threat. Terravore was okay. Like, there's some tension with Endurance, but, like, as we saw in that last game, like, it gets big. It gets real stupid big. But maybe between like endurance and Murktides and spell bombs and things of that nature, there's just enough things that are randomly exiling graveyards. Like main deck Bojuka Bogs are sometimes a thing that happens. Maybe there's enough things just randomly exiling graveyards where like it's not super viable to be playing that card. It's like very much a cute one of, I think, for a Green Sun package. But I don't know how many of these you can play. And kind of on that note, I didn't actually do things like activate Reclaimers to like grow a Terravore or something like that all that many times throughout this league. Pull out the sideboard here. How'd I feel about that? Sideboard was okay. I don't know if we want more stuff for true dedicated combo in here. Because like as we saw in the round versus Ant, like it just feels like we have very little game versus that sort of deck. Or if we just kind of go like, yeah, okay, I'm probably not beating that, and just kind of like move on with our lives. Regardless, it was fun, and I get to share a screenshot of on Twitter of me killing someone with a Terravore, so like I got that going for me. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on your way out. It helps out a lot. If you want to get one of your own decks on the channel, please check out my donation information available in the video description. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!